Hiya, welcome to another video. We're by the Danube yet again. We're bringing out the Fimi because that's the only one that we got that hasn't been by the Danube yet. And basically going to give that a bit of a cruise over the Danube, fly over, take a look at everything, see how we get on. Also try and change some of the settings to try and get better video quality. So I've had a few issues with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the settings in the drone. So if I go into the video quality, I'm going to set that to high. There we go. Set that back to high. Hang on. Yeah, I've set it to high. Why is it not doing what I want? There's a new app actually. It's just a new app that's just been released. It's all set to H.264. Got white balance auto. Yeah, let's leave it in auto and see how we get on this time. I'm just going to give it, so basically start it now, start up the recording, and let's do a takeoff. Oh, hang on, unable to enter GPS mode. I think that's because it's not as many satellites at the moment. So let's just give that a few seconds to pick up its satellites. Okay, right, here we go. This will go quite high, I think. Should go about 4 meters up. Oh, I don't know. It's not. Is it taking off? It's not taking off, is it? Ooh, that's strange. Yeah, see, I updated the app yesterday, and I had trouble connecting to the drone this morning, and now I'm having trouble getting it to take off. So it's a bit odd, really. Just all since I updated the app. Let's try it again. See how it gets on. Yeah, perfectly fine that time. Spin it round. Oh, hang on. Make it go back a bit. Sort of drifting a little bit, and I think that's indicative of having not very many GPSs. Usually they move around because of lack of GPS. It does have an optical flow sensor, which I think is meant to keep it sort of situated well on the ground. But it doesn't quite achieve as well as the Mavic does with that. Let's just try and drop the camera down. Oh, again, down is left, up is right. So drop it down. Yeah, so we're by the Danube again. Basically we're going to take a fly over, take a good look at it, see if we can get some good footage with the Fimi. It's not quite as warm today, around about 20 degrees, maybe slightly under. Yeah, it's moving back a little bit. Now it's moving forward a little bit, but basically it's trying to hold its position, but it's only got 15 satellites, so I think that's what's causing it. Yeah, we're gonna give it a bit of a fly around. Is it recording? No, I don't think it is recording. Hang on, started recording again there, not sure why. Just dropped out of recording there. Strange, does strange things, this drone. It's possible I forgot to press record, but I don't know. But yeah, it's a little bit cooler today, which is unusual. It's been like 30 degrees and late 20s for quite a while. Let me just bank it to the right there. Basically, it's been quite sort of hot for a while, so we've been kind of used to a really hot time, but it's a little bit nippier today, although certainly not terrible. I mean, we're in shorts and t-shirts as usual. And it's supposed to warm up. And what happens in Bulgaria, as opposed to places like the UK, where the sun is usually hottest midday, here the sun is usually hottest around about, I don't know, it could be getting on for 5 o'clock in the evening. So it'll basically later on in the evening it'll be quite warm and we'll be sweating again. Right, anyway, let's take this up before it kind of flies into us, and we're going to turn it round. Just take a look out to the river, a bit more up, and then go forward, full stick forward. It's a very fast drone, so it should pilot towards the river. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's going really well. So basically I'm out over the river now. As we said last week, that's basically Rusey is on the right hand side of the screen. Georgiou and Romania basically is on the left hand side of the picture that you're seeing. So we're going to go up. I'll try and get it over the middle of the river, try and get it up to maximum altitude, see how we get on. Emily's a little bit moany in the background there, if you can hear her. Actually, I've changed some of the mic settings this week for the external mic as well. I use a little external dictaphone, and it just the audio quality never seemed quite right to me. Also used to use the audio off the phone, but to be honest, we don't really want to do that. So right, so I'm going to move into so we've reached maximum altitude, which is about 120 meters. Just going to move over the center of the river, and we'll just give it a bit of a look around, see if I can I'm going to try out a few modes that I didn't spot before, like cinematic mode. Try a few different things out, just give it a look over, see if we can have a look at the horizon as well, because the problem with this drone, as with its previous version, the 2018 version, is there's a car coming. Should be all right. Basically the problems have been with this drone and its previous version, was 2018 version. This is the 2020 model. There's a problem with the gimbal where sometimes the horizon looks crooked, so the horizon will be kind of over to one side. It's kind of like a plane banking. Which is a bit of a shame, because it's a really good drone, and if they could nail that sort of issue, really, there'd be not many reasons not to get this drone over like a sort of more expensive equivalent like a DJI Mavic Air 2. I'd also, maybe not in this video, we may not get a chance, but I'd like to look at the I might just drop it down slightly, actually, because it's annoying when it keeps popping up that message. It's like, I know it's at the top altitude. Anyway, basically, we're going to try and do as much as we can, but it might have to wait for a later video. But we want to try like the smart tracking feature, which is a bit like the active tracking in the Air 2. I'm not totally confident that it will be amazing compared to the Mavic Air 2, but let's see. But let's have a look around and just sort of spin round. A good look at Rusey there. I must admit, I think it's turning quite nicely. I thought the Air 2 last week was kind of yawing very fast and not very cinematic. And yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with that, so I thought that I'd get a much better, so if we can pick the camera up a bit, so I'll just keep an eye on the horizon, really. It's sometimes difficult to tell depending on where you are. If you've got like sort of region where there's a lot of sort of hills and stuff, you might not notice it as much as other areas. I think looking back at videos of when we were on holiday and we took the Fimi out, the horizon to me definitely looked crooked there, which is something you don't need to worry about on like an Air 2, like on a Mavic drone, like a Mavic Mini. So these are the sort of things that kind of in the end push you towards an Air 2 over a Fimi X8. Anyway, so let's have a little look around. Be interesting to see how this footage come out. It looks really good on the screen. Yeah, I'm really seeing some nice, it looks quite nice to me. And I've got sunglasses on, so that's probably not helping. But yeah, looking at that, I'm getting quite a nice view over that. It's very interesting to see if it behaves a bit better than the Mavic Mini, sorry, not the Mavic Mini, the Mavic Air. What I want to do is I just want to stop recording a second. Oh yeah, can I do it without stopping recording? So if I go into cinematic mode, what happens then? Right, so it's in cinematic mode now. Now I don't know what changes, so I'm going to spin round, and it'll be really interesting to see in the footage whether that changes anything. See, I sort of think the horizon went a little bit crooked there. I think when you get a crooked horizon, the sort of solution is to kind of bank the drone back and forward a little bit, using the sort of right hand stick, left and right. My worry about that is that it's just not perfect, is it? If you were filming like a lovely BBC documentary, and you decided to sort of bank back and forward, you know, during the footage, it is just not going to be a professional use, is it? I mean, for a hobby, yes, but you know, oh, hang on, it's not interest. It's a bit. The GPSs are certainly not great today, and that's one thing I didn't really understand about drone usage, I suppose, before I started really using one. So I didn't really realise that there's a certain amount of GPS satellites that are kind of over you at any one point that this drone can basically get a signal from, and that can be, you know, a pain. And that's why when there's a drone that says, oh, it supports GPS, GLONASS, which is another form, it's I think a Russian version of GPS, that when you see a drone and it can do multiple like kinds of GPS satellite, which are all very similar types, it's good because it means that you've got more options up there in the sky. And what keeps this drone flying well and in place and exactly where you expect it to be is the GPS. A lot of babies and kids out about today. It's not Emily this time, believe it or not. But anyway, yeah, let's just have a little fly around. But I need to sort of turn this way because I'm not kind of pointing the GPS. I'm not pointing the controller at the drone. And although I haven't really had any issues with signal on the Fimi too much, you can sort of see that if I turn back away from the drone, it kind of get a yellow and a you know your controller icon in the app and your picture icon, you know, so basically, you know, next to the GPS, to the right of the GPS indicator, you have your FPV indicator, which is going yellow at the moment. It's sort of on and off. That's your feed. That's your kind of feed back to the screen, so you can see what's going on. That's your video feed. Yeah. See, I think that horizon is definitely crooked now. And then the following icon to the right of that is your controller signal, which I haven't seen drop at all. I don't think that's gone yellow, although maybe I haven't paid enough attention. Now the problem we had originally with this river and this area was that when we flew the Mavic Mini over here, we had a lot of problems with the signal. So it would say Wi-Fi interference, it would say strong wind warning, and actually the winds are relatively strong today. They're not massive. I mean, not much more than what we've been used to. There's a little bit of it's a nice breeze, but it's a relatively strong breeze. But the thing is, the Mavic Mini was struggling with that breeze. The Mavic Air 2 had no problems whatsoever. I don't think we got much interference at all. I think there was one point where it said aircraft interference. It was very, very blip, and then it kind of like, yeah, there was no issue. We didn't have breakup in the FPV. We didn't have any issues with it not being able to return to home, anything like that. So I think basically when you look over this river, we're holding up pretty well, and it's having a good look over. I'll sort of have a look over the towards the city here, maybe a little bit, so you can sort of see the boats. Well, they're not boats actually, they're kind of piers. Yeah, it keeps dropping out of the GPS mode, and that's worrying because I don't know, can it return to home if it's not in GPS mode? But anyway, is it still in cinematic mode? I don't know, I think it might come out of cinematic mode. There's also tripod mode. Tripod mode is that's kind of there's a mode for that on the Mavic Air as well, and on the map, oh look, there's a nice like kind of barge going across the river. Yeah, what I was just saying actually, sorry, those things by the side of the river, they're not barges, they're not boats in their own right, they're kind of like false boats that people stand on. It's kind of like docks really. They're kind of out into the river, people walk down onto them and the boat kind of sits alongside that, and it looks like another boat but it's not. But yeah, you can see the river going about its business. You know, you've got like barges going up. I guess it's trade. I guess there's shipments going up and down the river, and that's basically, you know, how things get around Europe a little bit as well. I should imagine most things are done by lorries. You certainly get stuck behind quite a few here. But yeah, I've got it in tripod mode, which I think just it just basically reduces the speed down. But yeah, one thing I like about this drone is as I'm sort of yawing around, it's very sort of nice and smooth. I can speed up a bit, but if you just touch the stick slightly, it really does move quite well. So I'm going to come out of tripod mode. I'm going to show you where sports mode is, because that's in the sort of, actually it's in the settings up here. So there's like a sports mode. How you get to it? Yeah, there we go. Oh, hang on. So let's have the right. So go into sports mode. Right, it's in sports mode. It sort of gave me a message there, and I couldn't really kind of read it because it was very quickly off. So hang on. So that's yawing like a maniac now. That's very fast. But the thing I'd say about it is, I felt like the Mavic Air was yawing like that, even in normal mode, as well as sports mode. And so yeah, there's part of me that thinks that Fimi have kind of got the yawing of the aircraft better than the Mavic Air. But maybe that's just a settings thing, although like I said before, you kind of expect DJI drones to just work out of the box. So you want a good sort of you want it to kind of cinematically turn. I don't understand, apart from if you were racing drones, why would you ever want it to turn crazily? You'd always want it to turn. I mean, the only thing I can imagine is if, and I watched a video where somebody, in fact I'm going to turn around, because I think by pointing myself away from the drone, I'm not helping the signal. You'll get a bit of breakup on the FPV, which is basically what you're viewing this on. But yeah, basically you sort of try and fly a bit alongside the river, have a bit of a look, because we don't always really do a lot when we get to this river. We kind of get, in awe of it and kind of stand over it, or fly over it, sorry, but we kind of hover over it, chat about why we're doing it and why the wind warnings, and a lot of things that we had with the other drones. And then you kind of forget to try out some features. But yeah, I thought I'd try out cinematic mode, so I wonder if we will have any difference in the footage from that. So that was sport mode anyway, and it's I don't know if we can really see how fast it's moving below, because I don't know if you get like a kind of feeling of it. I think it's moving at about 8 meters a second. And there's actually settings in this app that you can increase the speed. I think it's set to a maximum of 10 meters a second to kind of stop you doing any damage. But you can up that speed to something. I think it can get up to like 15 meters a second, something like that. In fact, there might be a setting in here that we can look at. Yeah, let's have a look through. Ooh, don't know what that was, sounded bad. Some sort of big noise. But yeah, just want to see if I can find anything about the speed. There may be settings that it doesn't allow you to touch when you're, so you got limited flight height there, so really you shouldn't be flying above 120 meters. Really, that's kind of the restrictions. There's a limit of flight distance as well, which you see when people do range tests. It's returning to home now. Don't know what's going on there. Wonder why it's failsafe return. Maybe it's the battery. Maybe basically it's just gone quite far now, and so it needs to come back, because it kind of, I think, knows how far away it is. And if you go too far away, it will automatically return to home. So I think basically it's doing that. But anyway, in the setting, while it's coming back, just want to have a look in the settings. There are some settings, I'm sure, that set the speed there. And I did have it, I thought. Yeah, so limit of flight speed, 18 meters a second. Now it may not let us, I don't think it lets us change anything, but there you go, look. 18 meters a second, but that's because it's in sports mode. I'm going to take it out of sports mode. But anyway, I think it's returning to us. And maybe that's because of the GPS issue, or I don't know. I mean, it's a shame really, because we had quite a good flight up until then. I don't know if it's just the battery, or Yeah, I don't know really. I mean, it's returning and it's still recording, and I'm kind of, you know, failsafe sounds relatively important, so I'm kind of minded not to sort of disconnect that really, because if it you know, it may be that it needs to return back. So let's see what it does. I can see it coming over us now. It's sort of coming towards us. You definitely see it coming. It's quite a good drone actually, because it's bright white. So, you know, as opposed to the Mavic sort of Airs and the Mavic lineup, which are all grey, this colour is pretty good. It's good for spotting. So it's coming back. And you need to be a bit careful, because although it's got precision landing, we don't have a landing pad. And if it gets it wrong, it'll come down on top of this tree. So to be honest with you almost want to turn off the failsafe return if it gets a bit too close to that tree. But just what I could do is I'm just gonna, yeah, there's no landing pad detected, which is no surprise, because I think you know, this sort of, I think you get breakup in the FPV when the drone is directly above you. And I tell you for why I think that is, because I think that, and this has got no obstacle avoidance, so it could hit something. Basically, I think it's coming down fine, but basically you have to be a bit careful, because I think when you know, basically these are directional antennas. So I think, like, if basically it's over the top of you and it's pointing out that way, then you're not really, your signal's kind of not going straight up. So I think that's part, I mean, it's not completely directional, I think, but anyway, it looks like it's coming down, and I don't think it's in, well, it's not too bad, I think, not too bad. It's not a bad position, really. Right. Yeah, I don't think that was too bad, actually. It kind of came down in a bit, you know, near to the railings over there, but of course it doesn't know where it is, so, you know, it's not got obstacle avoidance sensors like a Mavic Air 2. It's got sensors underneath, I think, but that's about it. It's strange. I think we're having some real issues with GPS today, so we're probably going to have to leave it there, which is a shame, but, you know, probably take it back out at some point and try and do the active track features. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame. It just doesn't seem to be picking up enough GPS signals, enough satellites, and it basically, yeah, it's not happy. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about, you know, this app, because I updated it yesterday evening before coming here. I updated it, there was a firmware update, and I'm just a bit nervous at this app, because I had lots of problems before I turned the camera on. I had lots of problems connecting to this. It basically, you know, the app just wouldn't connect to the drone, which I've never had before, and in fact I didn't have last night, but maybe it's since doing that update on the app, and basically that app just seemed to be completely, yeah, I don't know, I really don't know. I mean, it was brand new out, so yeah, it's interesting to see if that had caused a problem that maybe now is, I don't know how it would affect GPS, but I certainly had problems connecting to the drone. I couldn't get any kind of, you know, connection at all to it. I had to restart the app several times, and then eventually it did connect. So it's a little bit worrying. But anyway, you know, such as things are. I think up until now we've never really had issues like that with the Fimi. It's been pretty rock solid, really. It's a good drone. You know, I think it's the sort of drone that you should definitely consider looking at, because, you know, yes, a Mavic Air 2 is probably a bit more refined, but there's definitely nothing wrong with this in the sense that it can't get decent footage. I expect its active track features to be a bit ropey. I mean, let's just tap on the screen. Actually, oh yeah, because it's not in flight, but it's got Smart Track written there, and it's no longer in beta. I thought previously the app sort of showed it in beta, so I don't know, maybe it'll be a lot better. I haven't tried it, but I've watched other reviewers try it, and they've kind of said, oh, it's got beta written all over it, which obviously means it's like, you know, they're not confident. But But basically, looking at, yeah, we got a good look over the place. We tried a couple of modes out. It'd be interesting to see the video, whether when I switched to cinematic mode anything really changed. When I switched to tripod mode, did anything really change? It certainly feels like it sort of spins round in the sky a lot better than the Mavic Air 2. Just for my opinion, just the feeling I got there, I'll have to see the footage because maybe it'll look like it's spinning around like a crazed drunk lunatic. But I thought it looked like it was spinning quite cinematically. One thing I've tried to do this week is kind of be careful with my thumb on the you know, on the control. So maybe that's made a difference. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I haven't done a scientific test. It's not got good scientific conditions. We've got a lot of people around. You know, there's a lot of distractions. There's a baby screaming in the background, our own baby. So therefore, I don't know if I've completely done a good scientific test. But for my money, it felt like it was moving a bit better to what the Mavic Air 2 was, which is weird. That's the thing with drones. I don't know why that is. You kind of think, oh yeah, this drone, you know, will fix all the problems of the previous drone. Then you try the other drone, like the Mavic Mini, and you go, oh no, this has got a problem. Then you try another drone, and then that kind of introduced an issue. You think you're going to solve it just by buying the next one up, and then you start to find issues with that drone, you know, that you didn't really think of. So in the case of this, the yawing, I kind of think that that was yawing pretty well. But when I looked at videos the other week of us using this drone, I thought it wasn't yawing that well at all. So, and I thought the Mavic Air 2, I was expecting it to be very cinematic. I mean, it was its first flight last week here. Didn't seem that cinematic to me. And when we were over Scenic, not sure it was that cinematic either. So, I think one is probably more down to the pilot. I'm not a good pilot, basically. And two, maybe there's a little bit to do with the drone, but I think a lot of it is how careful you are on the sticks, what mode you got it in. Sport mode is just going to go everywhere like that. I think you got to be careful. But yeah, I think we had a reasonable little flight there. Check the footage, see what happened. Why did it fail safe return to home? Not sure. But yeah, I think we'll get it back out tomorrow probably, and we'll try and do some of the smart track features, maybe back in Scenic, who knows, maybe a mystery location, I don't know. We make it up as we go along. But basically, let's see. You know, I want to see what its tracking's like. I don't think it's going to be a great thing to do here. There's a lot of people about. Well, there's some people about. I don't think it would be a great idea to try and do tracking and walking around. There's no obstacle avoidance, so it'll literally go into a lamppost if it wants to. Well, even if it doesn't want to. But anyway, just to recap on that, I think it, you know, the footage to me looked good. Let's see what it comes out like on the video. You kind of see the footage in some weird ways before us. I mean, obviously I see it while I'm editing the video, but very dry throat today. But basically, you know, I won't see the footage till I get home, but you will see the footage while you're watching this video, which is a weird thing, isn't it? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that flight over the Danube. It's a shame we couldn't have done a few more things, but you know, maybe we should skedaddle before we get busted, because there is like a camera up there, and although we come here quite a lot, you never know whether they're going to go, you shouldn't be there. Anyway, everyone else seems to be pretty friendly and no one's ever given us any bother. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, please click the like button, please click the notifications bell, please do anything you can. I mean, please share to your friends, share to your pets. I don't know, do what you can really, do anything. I mean, if there's a button that I don't know about that YouTube has, press it. Oh, unless it's the dislike button, because it's not good when you press that. I don't know, they get funny about it, so don't press it. I mean, I don't know why they have it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. No, watch it, please. Well, don't press the dislike button, just press the like button. We've not had a dislike yet, and that's not a challenge, so don't go and try it. I shouldn't have talked about this really. That's, you know, it's like opening a can of worms, isn't it? Basically, you're going to push that button now, aren't you? Anyway, don't push the button. If you do, get 10 of your friends to push the other button, which is the like button. But yeah, basically do what you can. I hope you enjoyed the videos. You know, the more amount of times you press that button, the more we feel like we want to come out here and do this. Again, that's not a challenge to try and stop us doing this. But thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate it. Please subscribe, please like, please share, please anything. Thank you very much. Goodbye, you've been great.